Hi, everybody, and welcome. We're so happy to have you here at the chapbook launch for All the Dead We Have Yet to Bury. Um, I am so thrilled to be here with Mario Aliberto III, whose name we have been pronouncing in various ways, and some of the flashback. Um, and yeah, I'm just so thrilled to have you. Please stay on mute. If I mute you, please don't be offended. I'm just trying to do housekeeping over here. And the first and very most important thing, which I know that probably many of you already have, but if you do not, here is where you can buy Mara's chapbook. And it is also available on Kindle. Um, so it's really rare that we have a chapbook author who chooses to launch both Kindle and print at the same time. But I think it's been doing pretty well. So yeah, I can't say anything bad about that. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna introduce. Uh, oh my gosh, people are still pouring in. Okay, so official bio. Um, Mario Aliberto III's short fiction has appeared in Smoke Lawn Quarterly, Fractured Lit, The Pinch, Tramp Set, Tahoma Literary Review, JMWW, and other fine journals. Um, oh gosh, Zoom. Um, okay, he is a Smoke Lawn Quarterly Workshop Prize runner-up, and his work has received nominations for the Pushcart Prize, Best of the Net, Best Small Fictions, and Best Microfiction. A graduate with a creative writing degree from the University of South Florida, he lives in Tampa Bay with his wife and daughters, and yet the dog still runs the house. And we all know this is true because we've been here listening to some of these shenanigans that Maria's dog has been up to. And here is his website. So before we begin, I'd like to just say just a little bit about this chap. This chap came in the queue. Now, I already knew Mario. I had the pleasure of being the launch party person, the managing editor, but I like to reckon myself to like Effie Trinket in the Hunger Games, trying to like psych up introverted writers about their pieces. Um, it's really great, like because I get to put the issues together, I get to see all the pieces in InDesign and read them, and I'm the one who does all the sequencing and all of that stuff. But it's such an honor because um, it's so amazing to see all these writers come in, maybe people I know from Twitter or from other social media spaces, now that Twitter is something we have actually buried, perhaps. Um, and this chapbook just blew me away from the start. Uh, I still tear up when I read Classified Ad for a Ghost, when I read something like Panera Pariah. And recently, on our Chestnut Review retreat in Mexico, I taught my prose group from Mario's story, Panera Pariah. And I brought my little Bluetooth speaker and we all sat around on the beautiful sunny deck in Mérida in the middle of, what was probably a frigid North American January. And everybody kind of got something in their eye as they heard Mario's wonderful voice, claiming his own story, telling this beautiful, beautiful flash that was simultaneously like this larger than life tall tale kind of legend interspersed with the actions of a girl who had just lost her father and was drowning in grief. And not an eye was dry. And at the end, I looked at my students who were all kind of Flash virgins and, pretty nervous about writing Flash and, okay, what can Flash do that short stories can't or that novels can't? And I looked at them and I said, so we just listened to this wonderful story. How long do you think it was? And they were like, that can't have been a Flash. That has to have been a short story. Like that was like a 3,000 to 5,000 word arc. And I said, nope, it's 942 words. And yeah, so I taught them about how within this small, compressed space, through density of language, through wordplay, and a true love of the art of presentation, of implication, of language, syntax, and form, which is not something that all prose writers think about, right? How suddenly we can make a whole world come alive. We can touch people's emotions. we can talk about and express these really ineffable things about the human experience. And to me, that is what this chap did. It's what it did for me when I first saw it in the queue, and it's what it's done for me over and over again as the editor to the chap and somebody who I I would think like has seen, several iterations of it and is closer to it than people who are perhaps just seeing it for the first time, in which case I do envy you. But every single time it just touches me in such a deep way. And I'm really thankful to Mario for being so great to work with. And I feel like it's such an honor to have been on this journey with you and to have, I hope, in whatever small way, contributed and helped you get this book out there in the world. Right. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for submitting. Thank you for working with us. Thank you for being a great contributor and for being a dream to work with.
I, uh, I there's nothing I'm going to say tonight that's going to top what Maria just said. So we could probably all just go home after that because anything I'm going to say is going to downgrade it, and you may return the book if you had already bought it. No, seriously, thank you, Maria, for everyone at the Chestnut Review family that have treated me like, a lot of us do flash fiction and we write, and we believe in our stories and we believe in ourselves, but you never know if anyone else believes in you. I'm lucky that the Flash community is so great that you start out just building friends, building writing groups, and you gain confidence. Um, and then you have the guts to actually put your work out there, and to have such a great literary establishment like Chestnut Review say, yes, we believe in you. I can't tell you what that means to me. And I've spoken to my family about this. They know this. All I ever want to do is have a book with my name on it, from someone else, not self-published. Not that there's anything wrong with self-publishing, but this was my goal, and I've had that goal. And God is my witness. If I were to go tomorrow, I am so happy and grateful to the Chestnut Review family for making a dream of mine come true. So thank you. All right. I promise everyone, I'm going to try to keep this around 60 minutes. It's Friday night here. I know it's different times for everybody. So we're going to try to get into it. But I do want to say this. I know some of you already bought the book, but that means a lot to me. Thank you. But what means more to me, I can't tell you all the people that showed up tonight pouring into the room. That means more to me than anything because you're spending time, which is your most valuable commodity. And to spend time with just me, I'm just some guy writing on a laptop in my house, sometimes in my bed on a Sunday before breakfast. So coming out here and then being here for this it means the world to me. So thank you all very much. All right, without any further ado, we're going to do a couple of readings. And then I have some guests that I'm going to bring on to do some readings as well. But tonight we're going to start with one that's exclusive to the chapbook. And this one is called Frogger. Night in Tampa is never dark. No, never. Cigar bar neon signs, nightclub strobe lights, traffic signals on wires swaggering to the drums of Cuban street music, the rumble of car engines, and I'm swigging from a bottle of Tito's in a brown bag. And why do I never buy enough Coke for a mixer? Easily remedied. A bodega across the street, once all the cars pass. And if my mother were here, if my mother were still alive, she wouldn't like me standing this close to the street. This is the city after all, and all these cars. She was right. They really do not give a fuck about me. And geez, they drive fast, and the little crosswalk man is lit up red, and I'm waiting for the red crosswalk man to turn white, the way my mother taught me when I was a little boy, held my hand from one side of the street to the other. And away from her, I've never been good at heeding warning signs, not as an adult, not without her. And I know I could get across one lane, maybe two, time it right, and I could possibly totally frogger it to the other side. Well, no, probably not. But what if I could? What if this is my calling? The one thing in life I'm finally good at, my purpose. And if I don't try, I'll never know. I mean, I have to be good at something because I've never been good at anything, not little league or culinary school or sobriety or making amends to my mother, even though my sister begged me to come to the hospital before it was too late. And if my mother were here, if she were still alive, she'd say everyone has something special about them. And yeah, this could be my thing to hop, hop, hop safely to the other side. And this stranger next to me is watching me like he could catch me before I leap lily pad to lily pad. And I don't want to be squashed, but I want to know if there's anything special about me. If my mother was right to believe in me the same way she believed I'd pay her back all the money I borrowed, hold on to a job, get sober, and I take a deep breath, load my legs to spring, and as the wind of a car whips by, the man next to me gasps, and this is it, I can do this, and I leap, but not before the little crosswalk man changes from red to white. Tiny white dots, tiny constellation of a walking man, and all the cars stop like time itself is frozen. It's safe to cross now. The white crosswalk man says so. The man next to me leading the way says so. And if my mother were here, if my mother were still alive, she would say so. And as I watch the herd of people cross, I sip my Tito's, think about buying a Coke, all the while whispering under my breath, nothing special about me, Mama. Nothing special about me at all. That's Frogger. Thank you all. Slam clapping. Slam clapping. Thank you. All right. The next one I'm going to read is the one that brought me to Chestnut Review. It's the first piece I published with them. And it's going to be another breathless one. So, deep breath to get started. This one is Tuesday May Never Come. The Price is Right is on television in the media room again. And no matter how many times Bernie's seen it, he can't guess the price of a can of Hunt's tomato sauce to save his life, which Laura teases him about every time he gets it wrong, and she guards the remote on her wheelchair's armrest where he can't reach it from the couch. Hasn't been able to reach it in the 3 months since his kids sold his house and abandoned him at Suncoast Senior Living, where Laura is always first to the media room and the remote, and he wants to complain about how unfair it all is to Patty, his wife of 50-something years, who knew the exact dates of the kids' birthdays, the anniversaries, all the grandkids' names and ages, just like she would have known. He doesn't want to watch The Price is Right because Law and Order reruns are playing on another channel, the original L&O, none of those spin-offs which he hates, and Patty would know what day it was because all Bernie knows is it isn't Tuesday, because if today were Tuesday, Laura would be wheeled off to bingo with her clucking girlfriends, and he'd have the remote on the couch next to him, and he could play detective for a little while, solve cases with Detective Briscoe, the grizzled vet who doesn't have time for anyone slowing him down as he hunts murderers and brings them to justice. And Bernie wonders who Detective Briscoe is partnered with this episode. He's had a few partners over the years, and on Tuesdays, that's how it is for Bernie. He's the new partner, and Detective Briscoe assesses him, wondering if he's up to snuff, if he has what it takes, what horrors he's seen. And Bernie could tell him about his 30 years on the road as a corporate accounts manager for a national coffee chain. And true horror is all the time he spent away from his family. And when he thinks back on the years, the images cycle through many things he wishes he could forget. Peeking over the curtains during Patty's 3 C-sections. Watching the doctors pull the babies past her intestines. Wondering if she'd ever be put back right. Or Patty's voice on the phone calls to him on the road. The phone call when their oldest boy cut his wrist in their bathroom, or the phone call the first time their baby girl returned home with a purple bruise on her cheek and claimed she fell, or the phone call about how their middle child moved out in the middle of the night without saying goodbye, or how, after 50-something years, he rose out of bed one morning and Patty didn't. Though they agreed when it was time for them to go, he should go first. How, after all those years of being a husband, a father, he didn't know how to be either. And all those retirement years of watching Law and Order reruns, he didn't have the first clue what to do when he couldn't wake his dear, sweet Patty. Didn't know which of his kids to call, or if they would answer. Didn't know how to tell them. Didn't know how to talk to them. Had never really talked to them. And what does he have to say other than he's sorry? It should be him. But before he can tell Detective Briscoe any of that and settle the question of his fitness for duty, they're grabbing their suit coats and rushing out of the precinct because there's always another body on Tuesday, another case to solve, and he knows to stay close because Detective Briscoe knows exactly what to do, who to call, what comes next. He's a great partner. And Bernie hasn't had a new partner for 50 plus years. And yes, he could ask Laura to change the channel, could tell her all about Tuesdays and the cases he investigates while she's stamping green ink on numbered squares. How life is unfair, how little people value it, and how quickly it can be taken away. How one day would be the last day he watches Law and Order, and he'll be under a sheet, and his life will remain a mystery he was never able to solve. And Bernie turns to Laura, and her head slowly creaks in his direction, and she's squinting at him, hand on the remote, studying him as if he's a prize on the showcase showdown she's never seen before, while he wonders if she's up to snuff, if she has what it takes, what horrors she's seen. Thank you. All right. Listen, there's no way I can entertain you all for 60 minutes. So I invited some of my real dear friends along to help me out with this. And we went over some pieces that I'd like for them to share with you. And the pieces kind of complement the stories in my chapbook. So first up, my good friend Amy Marquez. Amy Marquez grew up between languages and places and learned from an early age the multiplicity of narratives. She's been nominated for multiple awards, longlisted twice in Wiggly 50, and has visual art, poetry, and prose published in journals such as Street Cake Magazine, South Florida Poetry Journal, Fictive Dream, Unlost, Ghost Parachute, Booth, Chicago Quarterly Review, and Godlong. She is a contributor to the collective The Pride Roars, editor and visual artist for the Duets anthologies, author and artist of the chapbook Are You Willing, and the found poetry book Parts. You can find more at amybookwhisperer.wordpress.com. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you. I wish you could always read my bio for me because I sound cooler with you reading it.
It's an awesome bio. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
All right, what do you got for us today?
Well, I'm glad you helped me choose by telling me what you wanted. So I'm starting with Jabuticaba. So here we go. Jabuticaba. In the middle of a too large city where homes pile on top of each other and tree roots crack cement sidewalks to grow, we had a small yard with a young jabuticaba tree that refused to be seasonal. The tree offered up berries year-round in a low, generous canopy under which my son took his first steps, kicked his first ball, and spent hours swinging foam swords at monsters only he could see. We eventually moved oceans away to a yardless home in a rural town sprinkled with sprawling California oaks, where nobody had ever heard of the black marbled berries that are as round and sweet as my son's eyes. In third grade, he made me a Valentine's card with a black blob, an orange humped beak, and the letters R.I.P. I laughed as I taped it to the refrigerator. Why are you laughing? It isn't funny. It's our bird. Once, while dragon hunting under the Jabuticaba, my son had found a bird with a broken beak nestled against the tree's trunk. We did what we could, but in the end, the most important thing we could do was dig a hole among roots, wrap the bird in linen, and cover it with soil so saturated with fallen fruit that it stuck like jelly to the soles of our feet. It had been 6 years, more than half of my son's short life. We drew it for Valentine's because it's something we loved and we shouldn't forget. Do you want me to read both in order, in sequence?
Yeah, if you
Okay.
go into the next one, I love that one. That one gets me every time. And I read it again the other day, and I knew you had to read it here tonight. Thank you.
I was already emotional from your reading, so I was choking up by the end too. The second one is Halentando. Nan could no longer play, but her blue-haired granddaughter agreed to take her to the once beautiful brick schoolhouse that had housed the first piano Nan had ever touched. It was still there, in a corner, the middle C missing its ivory, and 2 strings curling out like wiry white hairs. Nan's hair was smooth today, but she'd had to pause her brushing 3 times this morning. One day you're allegro, presto, keeping pace, daydreaming of how someday you'll pause to just be. What nobody tells you is that when someday finally comes, being takes all the time you have left. And yes, it's a Nan story. Some of you know my Nan stories.
Yeah, we love Nan.
Yeah, I love it.
Amy has a bunch of Nan stories, and we're always so excited when we get to see her first drafts of Nan because we know she's still around in her head and living and doing everything that Nan does. We love following her adventures. Amy, I want to talk to you because I know some rap pieces always speak to one another. It's amazing some of the chemistry there. But what I like about you too is that you always bring a different outlook to your writing because you do visual art as well. I wonder how much do you feel like your visual art helps you see the story? So when you're writing, are you actually seeing it like a movie in your head, or how does that work for you?
Oh, that's actually a really interesting question for me because I don't see stories very well at all. And I have a very hard time with descriptions, and I tend to skip them when I read other people's work. And some people dream with images. I do not. I dream vibe. I don't even dream words. So description for me is always a challenge. And I think I've begun to learn to see because it's less that I like, you know how there's ekphrastic where you'll see a visual and you'll write it. And I think some people have like the ekphrastic energy in their head. So they'll like see things and they see movies and then they're writing what the movie that they're seeing, right? I don't do that. But when you said I do visual work, I've done visual work from what was already written. So like the first duets was my first big exercise in that. And it was choosing other people's stories and illustrating what they did. And then the second duets had that same kind of energy too. And now I've been doing it for other journals, and it's taught me to read differently. It slows down the reading, and it's taught me to not just read differently, but to see differently. So no, I don't see the story and write it, but I'm learning to read a story and notice where there's nothing to see, if that makes sense.
It
Um,
does.
yeah.
So let me ask you something. So obviously with your erasures and stuff, do you find it easier to see the art through the words? So when you see a page, do
Always.
so it's easier to go from the words to the art pieces?
Always. And I didn't understand art until somebody like I'm the kind of person who will read the sign in the museum before I look at the art because I need somebody to give me something, like give me a story, tell me who the artist was, give me the context, the background, where they lived, why. I need a why. And so it's a process for me to do that just by looking at something and finding the words and the emotion. And I think that's what I've been learning. And in some ways, it's like I reversed engineered it. I had to learn to make art from stories in order to get to the art and make up my own story for it.
Oh, I love how your brain works. We could probably talk about this forever, and I'm sure me and you will continue this conversation. But I need your brain for one other thing right now. So my daughter's going to help me. What number did we get up to?
45.
She's just off camera. All right, can you pick a number between 1 and 45?
13.
Who's number 13?
Heather. I'm just going with Heather. It's Heather.
Okay. Is there only one Heather in the room tonight? There's two Heathers. Okay. It's Heather with just the first name. What's the other Heather, sweetie? Okay, but it's the other one. So, all right, so it's gonna be Heather Ward. All right, Heather Ward, you have won a free chapbook that I will sign and I will send to you. Now, I know some of you may have already purchased the chapbook. Do me a favor, I'm still gonna sign it. I'm still gonna send it to you. Take the chapbook you already purchased or the signed one, whatever you want to do, and just give it to somebody. We're gonna get this to you, spread the love, but that'll be coming to you. So, big winner tonight. All right, Amy. Thank you so much for reading tonight. I know you have some things coming up. Can you share with them and then put the links in the chat? But tell us
Yeah,
what you got coming up.
absolutely. I'm going to put in the chat, like, this is Parts, which is a modified, it's a Thomas Wolfe novel where every single page is erasure poetry with art. This is the first duets that has my favorite ever Mario story, which is the classified ad for a ghost. So it's one of it has art and words. This is the second duets because I feel like flash writers should be in the New Yorker. So I modified a New Yorker magazine and published my friends in here. So everybody who's in here was published in a modified New Yorker. And there's another chapbook which recently came out, and I'll just put the link to my website because all of them are in there.
Awesome. Amy, thank you so much for spending time with us tonight. All right. Next, let me get my computer ready. All right. Next, with us tonight, Kim Studerman Rogers lives in Hawaii. Her chapbook, Denatured, Stories of Change, will publish in June 2025 from ELJ Editions. Her writing has published recently in Ghost Parachute, Gooseberry Pie Lit Magazine, and Emerge Literary Journal. Her science journalism has published in National Geographic, Smithsonian, and Audubon. Kim's work has been nominated for Pushcart Prize, Best Microfiction, Best Small Fiction, and Best of the Net honors. She was awarded residencies at Story Knife Writers Retreat in 2016 and 2021, and at Dorland Mountain Arts in 2022 and 2023. She holds an MFA from Antioch University, Los Angeles. Welcome, Kim.
Thanks,
I'm doing
Mario.
my best game show host voice. How's that work?
You're doing awesome. I think we
Doing
should
my best.
submit you. Yeah.
Thank you
Love
so
it.
much for joining us tonight. And I know you have one story for us, and then we're going to get a little chat. What do you got for us tonight?
Well, I have a story called Science Lesson. Before I jump into it, though, I do want to say thank you. It was quite an honor for you to share your big debut launch with a few of us. Honored to be invited, and I'm thrilled for you. Absolutely happy and
Wouldn't do it
thrilled.
without you. Thank you.
Absolutely happy. It's fun to share it with friends, isn't it? So I am going to read Science Lesson. It originally published in The Dodge, which is a literary magazine based in Wooster, Ohio, at the College of Wooster. And for those of you listening who might know me more as a science journalist, I do want to make the point that this is entirely a fictional story. So here we go. Science Lesson. The night after we killed the seal, I ate pork and beans for dinner right out of the can. The seal was endangered, in the prime of his life, his death a terrible accident. Ben went to his tent, I went to mine, sleep didn't come. I got up and walked down to the water's edge, where the seal had taken his last breath. With no moon overhead, the Milky Way zillion stars lit up the sky, and I relived it all. We had injected the seal with a sedative, a heavy dose, sure, but well within the safe range for his big size. The objective was to take his measurements, length from nose to tail and girth around the belly below his pectoral fins, and collect blood, skin, saliva, and fecal samples, then pierce his rear flipper and slide in a plastic tag with a unique number ID, enabling us to track him throughout his life. It was not a risky procedure. We had done it many times that summer. Have you ever killed a seal before? Ben had asked before he turned in. No, this was my first field season. We had approached the seal on the sand from behind, using a hoop net to catch him. It didn't take much wrangling before the sedative took effect and he settled down. He had been so close to entering the sea and diving to depths of 300 and 500 feet to nose around for lobsters and eels hidden in the crevices of coral and under rocks, using an adaptive technique evolved over millions of years to stay submerged, slowing his heart rate to single digits per minute, something called bradycardia. We didn't do anything wrong, Ben had said. It happens sometimes. I was supposed to watch the seal's respirations, count his breaths, and I did. But seals are good at camouflaging their inhalations and exhalations. I wasn't sure when he took his last. It was Ben who first realized something was wrong. He lifted the seal's muzzle and slapped his nose, pinched the skin between the bones of his foreflipper to trigger a startle reflex, injected him with a reversal drug, stuck him with epinephrine, intubated him, pumped air into his chest, anything to pull the seal back from the deepest dive of his life. But it wasn't until Ben pulled out his stethoscope, placed it on the seal's side, then sat back on his heels, wrapped the scope around his neck like doctors do, and shook his head that I got it. In saving seals, sometimes you lose them. I lost one years ago, Ben said before he zipped himself inside his tent. I'll never forget it. Now, no waves broke inside the lagoon and stars sizzled on its surface. I followed the seal's trail in reverse, from the ocean's edge where he died to the spot on the beach he'd left hours before, his sleeping pit, where he'd wriggled and rested and rolled around during the last night of his life. I crawled inside the sandy pit, curled in a ball, and taking deep breaths, caught musky whiffs of wild seal whenever the land breeze blew. Sorry, that was not funny, nor happy, nor
No,
uplifting in any
but,
way.
but I love that story. It is uplifting, and that's one of the things in your story because you write nature so well, and to find that nugget in there that sometimes you do lose a seal in trying to save them. That to me is like the wisdom, and to be a person who loves it. I know you love animals. I have a sister who's a vet tech. She loves animals, and I know she's been around when animals have been lost. And but you have to carry on. So my question to you is, we're trying to marry your personal experiences with your writing. How much, when you are working or dealing with your animals, how much is your writer brain activated? Is it in the moment, or does it come to you only after, like a retrospection?
Wow, yet another great Mario question. Thank you very much. I would say it is, I mean, as a former science journalist, I am always taking notes in my head, if not on a physical, journalist reporter's notepad. But this particular story, and I have worked with Hawaiian monk seals for decades. I've written about them. I've helped hands-on, literally with them. But this particular story was one of those that evolved from an actual episode in the field. I mean, this is entirely fictional, but it was one of those moments that haunt you, right? Speaking of haunting and the theme of your chapbook, it totally was a haunting moment. And oftentimes, much of my writing comes from that, like just this little kernel that, like years and years and years later, like is still running around in your head. So that's how this one got its start. Some stories, yeah, I'm out, I got a line, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm turning that into a story of some sort. But that's how this particular story came to be.
It's funny you say that, because I think me, you're very similar in that, because I'm sure I have some family here tonight, and I'm sure when they read my stories, there's probably one line that they know personally about me that no one else knows. And like you said, that word seed. So I'm sure my family sees that seed and they go, I know what this whole story is about. Now, the rest of the story is fiction, made up, goes off in wild directions that are not true. They're fiction, but they see the seed of that story. And what you said there is your experiences. You're able to do that in such a remarkable way. No one's writing environment or anything with animals or anything to do in environmentalism like you today. And I think that comes, it's so authentic in your writing because you are able to capture your experiences. So again, I just want to thank you, Kim, for coming and sharing that story. Loved it. Really made me feel very emotional the other day. We're big animals over here, lovers over here. You know that.
Yeah.
But it is time. I need your help.
Okay.
You do me a favor. My
Yes.
assistant is now chasing my dog. So I got another assistant that's going to help me. What number what we choosing between again?
1 and 45.
We're doing between 1 and 45,
Not 13.
Not what?
not 13. So
Okay.
any number between 1 and 45.
I'm going with 37.
37.
Terry Black.
That is Terry Black.
Woo, Terry!
Yay, Terry Black. You'll be getting a book from me, and I will send it to you, and then you will either give it to somebody or donate it to your public library. Do what you want with it, because I know Terry Black already has a copy. But we're just going to make it easy tonight. You're getting another copy. It'll be signed, and you can do what you want with it. All right, Kim, you read beautifully. What do you have coming up that you could share with us?
Oh, thank you. I have a story coming out in Moon City Review, and it'll be available at AWP. So that's a printed literary journal from Mike Shashofsky. None of us kind of, I know you all know who I'm talking about. Um, so that will be at AWP later next month, which is starting tomorrow. And then I do have the chapbook that you mentioned. Unfortunately, I don't have a link for it at this point in time because it will not be published until June of this year, but it's coming out from ELJ Editions. And once I have a link, I'll be putting it up on my website, and I'm sure, they'll have it on their website. So those are two things coming up. Thank you for asking.
No problem. And so, can you do me a favor? Can you put your website in the chat? And people, if you love Kim's work, like I do, please check her website. She'll announce when those are be available for purchase. So, thank you once again, Kim. All right, we are moving along. Doing good, guys. Doing good on time, right? What time is it? Oh, 8:30. Oh, we're cooking. All right. Next up, while I get my computer ready. All right, Melissa Lanes Brownlee, a native Hawaiian writer living in Japan, has work published and forthcoming in Quarterly West, Wigleaf, The Threepenny Review, Matchbook, Bluestem, Sunlight Press, and Cutleaf Journal, and honored in Best Small Fictions, Best Microfiction, and Wigleaf Top 50. Read Hardskin 2022 and Kahi and Lua 2022, and look out for Bitter Over Sweet this year, 2025, from Santa Fe Writers Project. She tweets at Lumchan MFA and talk story at melissalanesbrownlee.com. Melissa, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Aloha.
All right, and I'm just going to say it. Melissa is a phenomenal ukulele player and singer, even though she doesn't always think she is. She is awesome. So if you ever follow Melissa on social media, her ukulele videos if you're in a shitty mood one day, please play one of her videos and your spirit's lifted right away. Now, that's a true story. So thank you for sharing your gifts with us, Melissa.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to do some readings today. What do we got?
Okay, so let's see. I have This Is Not Your Kind of Ghost Story first. It's part of my Tita storylines. So this is not your kind of ghost story. We were sleeping in the rainforest again. Tita wanted to be outside under the stars. So we packed up the beach mats, blankets, and pillows and walked out the screen door, hearing it slap against the house as we headed into the jungle on the edge of our backyard. Tita was never scared. She always knew exactly where to go. We climbed over the rock wall the uncles had built when Tita was born. Like the walls built by Menihune, nothing held the broken lava pieces together. Tita didn't want to hear anyone's cars out there, so she found a small, cleared area far from our house or the road. She said it was best if we didn't hear anyone alive. Tita lived for these nights. Out here, she was free. Her long, dark hair unbraided, unponytailed, my own scalp itchy from 2 tight rubber bands. I envied Tita's freedom. We laid down our beach mats and then our blankets. The stars stared down at us. Tita stopped speaking and just laid back, waiting. I wanted to close my eyes, but I knew that if I did, I would miss it. I pulled my blanket over my head, a hood to protect me. At first, all I heard were the owls hunting the scurrying things in the bushes. Then I heard Tita sigh, and then I saw it, like I knew I would. Her hair began to swim slowly in the air, strands weaving and dancing. I never asked how or why. These were things that only Tita knew, and I felt that she couldn't tell me even if she wanted to. I guess am I reading the next one?
I love that one. Yeah, go ahead. Go into the next one.
Okay, cool. Okay, this one was a request from Mario. When the eye of Hurricane Eva is passing over us, we all drive through feet of ocean on Ali'i Drive, our wheels fanning the water as we watch houses release their contents into the raging surf. Chairs, couches, tables, and we laugh, our faces pressed against the car's windows, witnessing other people's dreams wash away, our own safe on the mountain, far from our ocean. And we wonder, if anyone is even there to save their precious things. But we all know they will just buy more, and we stop laughing, returning home before the eye stops watching us.
That is one of my absolute favorites, and I know I requested that one, so thank you for sharing that, Melissa.
No problem. No problem.
Um, hey, so I definitely want to talk to you.
Mm,
So growing up in Hawaii, now living
yeah.
in Japan,
Mm,
lots of island life. Definitely impacted when you live on islands by nature, and you're definitely impacted by natural events, and also the threats of those natural events. And as a Floridian, we are every year going through multiple, hurricane alerts. So how do you think that helps your view on your writing with your characters? Because it seems like a lot of your stories, they have like the main problem, but then there's also like this natural problem around them too. Do you think that because they always have a threat of the weather or nature over them, that affects how they see the world or how they see or view their problems because they come and go?
yeah. Oh, that's a hard one. Okay, so such great questions, Mario. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm
um,
sorry. I should have led you up. I should have sent that to you
no,
like a week
no, it's
ago.
okay. No, it's really deep, but at the same time, I think Kim can attest to this. When you grow up, when you live in Hawaii, you you just live with that. That is just the underlying thing. It's like it's I don't know. The threat is there, but you don't feel like it's a threat because you just live with it. I mean, I grew up on the Big Island. We have an active volcano. You're just That's just life. So like when because you more the thing that like if a volcano happens, it happens. A hurricane comes, it comes. You have no control over it. So sometimes there's like a parallel between that and just subsistence. Like, you're living paycheck to paycheck. I have many family members who grew up on food stamps and living in projects and housing. Like, those are the things that bring fear. Like, if Pele decides to rain lava on you, you have no fucking control over that. That just happens.
Yeah.
A hurricane comes, you deal with it, right? But like, how are you going to feed your kids, right? I grew up during the 80s, right? Government cheese and powdered milk and big jugs of honey. Like, these are the things the government used to give to people, to for them to survive on, besides food stamps. So, I for me just yeah, I think the threat of the natural, maybe if I were to conflate it, would be the threat of, you know, just policies and government, like so I don't want to get on my soapbox, but there's a lot of systemic racism against Hawaiians in Hawaii, and it's very frustrating, having to not be able to live in my own homeland because I couldn't get a job doing what I do, because everybody wants to live in Hawaii and everybody wants to work in Hawaii, and I literally couldn't survive. If I want to work in hotels or waitress like my mother's, like my aunties, work in the hotels, and even those jobs are not even available for Hawaiians because many people go to Hawaii to live and work. But anyway, so yeah, does
No,
that
I
answer?
you no, you absolutely answered my question, and you kind of led where I was going with it, which was in Florida. A lot of people look at us. We're the joke of the United States. Everyone makes fun of Florida. And one of my stories in my chapbook is called "Shooting at Hurricanes," which I got from a news report. One year we had a hurricane coming, and then this literally happened. The news had to tell people don't shoot at hurricanes, and out of that news, a story developed for me, and that's what I was talking about with you is like our characters seem the same. The hurricanes and natural disasters, what everybody else, because I'll get calls from my family, and I love that they're worried about me, but we're not worried. Like until it's like maybe like an hour to two away when it's going to hit us, that's when we start freaking out. But like the 24 hours, 48, 72, we're not worried about it at all. We're worried about the day-to-day stuff. And I kind of think that's a lot of things that our characters that we write have in common. And I think that comes from the experience of living near water, living near a very natural habitat like that. So, no, you definitely answered my question. Thank you.
No
But I did
problem.
have one more for you. Me and
Okay,
Melissa
great.
are very big video gamers, and I have a story called Frogger, which I read tonight. But I am curious. what is your favorite classic video game?
Oh God, the classic one. That's
Yeah,
a
the classic one.
curveball. That's not what I was planning to talk about.
I
Okay,
know, I
so
changed it up on
I
you. I like spontaneity.
yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So like I was one of those kids who used to get straight A's so I could get free game tokens at the arcade because of course I didn't have any game consoles as a kid. We was poor and I never got toys. So so if I could make A's, I could get like 25 tokens at the arcade in town. So that was my goal. And my favorite game to this day was the Buck Rogers game where you could sit in the cabinet. Literally
Oh,
love
yeah.
that game because I felt like I was in this enclosed, I was in a cockpit and I'm flying, a spaceship. So like literally that is one of my favorite games. I could make that token last or that quarter last for as long as possible. Like that's your goal, right? When you're poor, it's like I'm gonna milk this damn 25 cents for every single cent I'm earning it. I got straight A's, that kind of feeling. But yeah, always you try to do that, and then of course you want to try to do the skee ball because you want to get some prizes, but
Mhm.
but most of the time it was Buck Rogers. That was my favorite.
That's
Of course, I
awesome.
like thanks.
Yeah, I haven't thought about Buck Rogers in I probably since I was the age to play the Buck Rogers game.
Yeah. It's funny because I had a feeling you were going to change it up, and I was like, I better think about the game that I played as a kid because I feel like Mario's
Oh,
going to
so
win.
you were prepared. You were ready. Look, you outsmarted me.
Yeah,
All right.
and my brain works crazy. Sorry.
All right. Well, we're gonna get your brain working again. You know what
Yeah.
time it is. We're gonna pick a number between 1 and 45.
Okay. Well, I know it's a little low, but it's my favorite number. 3.
3. What do we got, Beck? Annie Banerjee. Annie, who's been a
Yay!
smoke long friend for a long time. You're going to get a book. I will get your email through Maria, the one you signed up with, or I'll get you through Smoke Long and I will get that book to you. All right. Awesome. Okay. Melissa, I know you got something big coming up this year. I know you have other books out there. What can you tell us
Yeah.
about?
So the big thing this year, of course, is I won the Santa Fe Writers Project. My book Bitter Over Sweet will be coming out in November. You can pre-order it now. I guess I better pop that link to my publisher's website. But if by any chance any of you will be at AWP and LA, I am going. I have 40 copies that I will be signing and numbering. They are special AWP copies. They have like special logo on the back and everything. They will not exist after AWP. I'm also giving away an ukulele to anyone who buys my book there, or if you pre-order, if you pre-ordered my book, I'm also going to do that. I'm like, throw your name in the hat. So at the end of AWP on Saturday, I will be giving away an ukulele. I'll be throwing that up on social media. So, it's cute. It's red. The flashback's already seen it. I didn't think about bringing it out right now. Sorry. I'm going to throw it up later, but no, it's all right. But yeah, so, and then of course I have 2 other books, Hardskin and Kahi and Lua. I'll throw my website up. Thank you, Alyssa. For showing it.
Listen, if you like Melissa's reading, I'm sorry, if you like Melissa's reading tonight and you want to read more of her books are awesome. They're available. And Bitter Over Sweet, I'll be honest with you, pre-orders always help people. The book's not out yet. So if you're interested and you'd want to help Melissa out, pre-orders are appreciated. I'll plug it for you.
Oh, thank you. Actually, I did find out from my publisher, everybody. I already have 200. Like that is unheard of. My book doesn't even come out till November. I was just completely shocked when he told me that. I was like, holy crap.
I hope you celebrated.
I celebrate every day. What are you talking about?
I know you do.
Every day
I
of
know you
life.
do.
Every day I don't crash my motorcycle into something is a joyful day.
All right. Thank you, Melissa, for being here tonight. I really appreciate your support.
Thank you for having me, Mario. It's been a pleasure.
All right. So thank you to all my guest readers. I couldn't have done this without you, and I didn't want to do it without you. As soon as myself and Maria started talking about what this book launch was going to look like, I knew I had some fellow Flash writers that I could call. I knew they had some work coming out this year, and I knew I would be brave enough to do this if I had their support. So they came out here not to push their books or to promote themselves. They came here because I asked them to, because I needed their help to make it through this. Because uh, I know it may be sound like I'm confident, but I'm not. But they boost me up and they help me get through this. So thank you to my readers for supporting me tonight. I really appreciate it. Okay, we have come to the closing of the night. I'm going to read a story, and then it's going to be the last story read tonight. And I kind of consider it my free bird. Like if I do a reading, it's my free bird. You don't go to see Leonard Skinner and not have him play free bird. So tonight, close it out, I'm going to be reading Classified Ad for a Ghost. And yeah, this is one that I think we all talk about. This one still gets me. I will try to make it through. I might be talked out, but hopefully I can make it to the end. All right, here we go. Classified Ad for a Ghost. I would like someone to haunt my house and simulate some of my deceased husband's habits so I can get some sleep. These include walking into the bathroom, leaving the door open with the bathroom light shining in my face, urinating loudly, opening the refrigerator door so hard the ketchup bottle clangs against the pickle jar, television blaring the Yankees game in the living room, and loud snoring. Night hauntings only, money negotiable, no contact, correspondence and payment through email and PayPal. I don't want to see you. A week after agreeing to terms with the only respondent to her online ad, the ghost made his first appearance. Olivia lay in bed with the latest Stephen King novel, and maybe not the best choice of book, but she hoped a bit of light reading would provide some relief from insomnia. She opened the book and hissed at the blurry words on the page. The familiar urge to call out to Tully to come to bed and bring her glasses from the kitchen table had not died along with him. She stayed to her side of the bed, her body falling into the dip in the mattress, but without her husband's chest to stop her, she rolled into the valley. A sob welled in her throat when a blurry shape, a ghost if you will, entered the ensuite bathroom. The light on, the door open, a man peeing, a hard stream, not the staccato of Tully's cancerous prostate, yet it brought tears to her eyes. A toilet flush, the light clicked off. Olivia whispered thank you. She slept almost 45 minutes straight. A few days passed. Once again, Olivia lay in bed, this time with her glasses properly fixed over her eyes as she read a few chapters of her book by the light of the bedside lamp. She couldn't get comfortable, fidgety, as if she were caffeinated. From the living room came the familiar sound of the television turning on. Snatches of programs as channels flipped. A crowd cheering, followed by excited commentary. Difficult to make out the words. Spanish? A sporting event, but definitely not Tully's beloved Yankees. Goal! Soccer? Tully hated soccer. And yet, the Spanish announcers, the rhythm and joy in which they called the action, lulled Olivia into a tranquil space she hadn't known existed. A space outside her grief. The ghost made the odd snoring noise, obviously fake, and intentionally or not, ridiculously over the top. Olivia giggled. Was that the ghost laughing as well? She put her book down and removed her glasses. She turned the bedside lamp off. An hour of uninterrupted sleep until she awoke in silence. Unable to quell her curiosity, she searched the house but found everything as she left it, as if her visitor were really a ghost. Weeks passed, and the hauntings occurred more frequently. Olivia always in bed. When the ghost made itself known, she would take her glasses off if she hadn't already. Blurry glimpses as the ghost moved about the house, Tully on her mind. She'd listen to the sound of the refrigerator door opening, the condiments shifting on shelves, their satisfying clink, the microwave door opening and the beeping timer, the smell of food, a spicy aroma the house had never known in the time prior to Tully's passing. Sleep would take her gently. The noise of the television still on sometimes after she woke from an hour or two of rest. No longer soccer, but movies. Spanish musicals with incredible scores. The instruments swept her along, and the ballads, while she could not understand the words, she understood their meaning. Occasionally, the ghost sang along, his voice high, a little pitchy but tender. Si tengo que volver a llamar, elijo amar solo a tu fantasma. The ghost visited her every night. The bathroom, the peeing, the singing, and every morning left no trace. Until one night she heard him cracking and stirring eggs, the smell of onions and peppers, frying bacon. She tiptoed into the kitchen, and although there was no sign of the ghost, she discovered a covered dish and a yellow post-it note on the counter. Beautiful, looping cursive. Please, eat something. Beneath the cover, a flour tortilla stuffed with green and red peppers, onions, scrambled eggs, crispy bits of bacon. She hadn't been eating, but now she was ravenous. With a full stomach, Olivia slept 3 hours, waking when she rolled into the bed's valley expecting Tully's chest to hold her up, only to be reminded he was gone. That night she kept her glasses on when she went to bed. Only her bedside lamp issued light. She wanted to see the ghost. It didn't matter what he looked like, but she could no longer imagine him as Tully. She listened to the creaks and groans of the house settling. She waited. The taste of the breakfast burrito lingered on her tongue. She read her book until it became obvious the ghost would not be making an appearance. Disappointed, she turned off the lamp and placed her glasses atop her book. She rolled back and something prevented her from continuing into the mattress's dip. The warmth of a chest pressed to her back. Knees tucked into the backs of her knees, legs filling the shape her legs left, breath on her neck. A hand reached for hers, fingers trembling. She closed her eyes. She slept the night through. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't say enough how wonderful it is to look out and just into the gallery and see so many familiar faces, friends and family, and fellow writers. And it's given me all the joy I could have. This is more than I could imagine. And listen, I'm going to try to thank each of you individually online or however we know each other. But please take this. Those of you that are here that stuck around for this and made it through it, I love each and every single one of you for sharing this with me. Thank you. All right, so one final time, Maria, if you could help me out, and in the chat where they can get my website or Chestnut Review's website, or the book is available on, I know not our favorite, but it is on Amazon. It also has an ISBN number. So if you want to buy it from your local bookstore, you can use the ISBN number if you want to avoid those places and help some local bookstores out. And it has a Kindle as well. So from me, from my guest readers, from Maria, from James, from Chestnut Review, from everybody. There's also one last thing. There's also a litany of Chestnut Review chapbooks. Please look at their website. They have fantastic authors, fantastic books. Take a look at them. Please support local, young authors just trying to make it in the world, especially at the chapbook level. We're the ones who just want you to read our work. We're not making money on this. We're not becoming rich tycoons off any of this. We just want to share our writing with you, and we just want someone to read us. So thank you, every single one of you, for being here. And everyone, have a great night. Thank you.